Manchester United are already being linked to strikers ahead of the January window. Could this suggest early Sesko concerns, or is it a little bit of media rubbish? Mainoo is sending a strong message to Ruben Amorim. All the things that Mainoo has been doing, Ruben Amorim just cannot ignore. But will Mainoo start tomorrow? We're going to talk about more links to Frankie de Jong. We're going to give it 10 seconds of attention because there's probably nothing in it. We're going to talk about Manchester United's new midfield edition, some plans for the youth, and Manchester United have signed a new young goalkeeper. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news, and update roundup show, where we're going to round up all the latest Manchester United news stories that you need to know. We're going to mostly talk about Mainoo in today's show, but we will cover the other stories about. Starting with Benjamin Sesko. So this was said by La Gazzetta dello Sport, but Stretty News wrote about it via the OneFootball app. And it had been reported that apparently United are considering Vlahovic as an alternative to Sesko in January. Juventus want to sell him in January because they do not want to lose him for free, and Chelsea and United have been monitoring. We obviously know that he's been linked to United for a while. We've looked at him for a while. He's had a good start to the season with 4 goals in 5 games. He seems to be doing all right. And Juventus would rather sell him than lose him for free. Juventus have already got their alternatives in. They'd like to sell him. Now, you might be thinking, if he's their top scorer, why do they want to sell him? Because he's on about 12 million a year in wages. And one thing about INEOS is INEOS do not want to bring in more high-wage players. They're trying to avoid high-wage players. So unless Vlahovic is going to take a huge wage cut, he is not coming to Manchester United in January. In fact, I don't think we'll be signing a striker in the January window. I think if we're going to sign someone in January, it's going to be a midfielder. That's going to be the priority. I like Benjamin Sesko. Benjamin Sesko's been at the club 2 months. I think it's completely ridiculous to write Benjamin Sesko off after 2 months. Yes, he could do with an experienced striker that he can rotate with and he can learn from. But look, Cunha can play striker if need be. I hope Sesko starts tomorrow. I believe that Sesko will be a success. I don't think we need to be spending January looking at strikers. And to be honest, I don't think we will get Vlahovic because I think his wages are ridiculous. And I don't think there's too much in the story. But now I want to talk about Mainoo, because there's been 3 different reports that I want to talk about in regards to Kobbie Mainoo and what Kobbie Mainoo's been doing, and the kind of message that this is sending to Ruben Amorim. Steve Ralston reported, Mainoo is determined to win back his starting role at Manchester United this season. He is working hard at Carrington and doing everything he can to impress Ruben Amorim. Mainoo has even changed his private chef at home in an attempt to improve his game. He also worked with a private coach during the September international break. So this has been said by Stevie Ralston that Kobbie Mainoo is just doing everything he can to try and win back a starting role. He put in a really good performance versus Manchester City, and he got 5 minutes off the bench versus Chelsea, which I thought was just mental. Obviously, the Casemiro card probably didn't help in that sense, but he's working super hard at Carrington. He's doing what he can to impress Ruben Amorim. He's doing extra training sessions, extra work. Him and Yora have a good bond. He's even bringing in a private chef. He's trying to improve every aspect of his game, his health, his fitness. We know that Mainoo's got technical ability. Ruben Amorim's expressed concerns over his physical ability. And Kobbie Mainoo's been doing everything he can to get back in his best physical shape. It was even said by The Sun that Mainoo is being put through intense training sessions by Amorim. Kobbie is pushing hard for the number 6 role alongside Bruno against Brentford on Saturday. And when we hear about all the extra training Kobbie's doing, all the extra work that Kobbie has been doing in and around Carrington, changing his chef, doing this, doing that, all the extra stuff that Kobbie's doing, and realistically, because Casemiro is suspended, he's competing with Agate for this starting spot on Saturday. For me, you're not, Brentford aren't Liverpool where you're expecting to not have much of the ball and you need someone to win back the ball. Brentford are a team where you're expecting to dominate the ball, and Amorim cannot ignore Kobbie. Amorim cannot ignore Kobbie for this game. This is a Mainoo game. This isn't an Agate game. I just think after everything that Mainoo's just done, he cannot be ignored by Amorim. Casemiro is suspended, so it's Mainoo or Agate next to Bruno. Agate's performances have been mixed. Kobbie has, we've not seen loads of Kobbie, but he's been better than Agate when he's been on the pitch. He was our best player versus Manchester City and got rewarded with about 5 minutes versus Chelsea, where he didn't put foot wrong, but didn't have enough to do anything. Brentford's a game we should be dominating possession in. I like Agate in games where we're not going to have a lot of the ball and we need someone to win back the ball, and that would be Liverpool. I don't mind Agate starting if we're playing in Liverpool, because he can win back the ball. As good as Kobbie is against City and Liverpool in the big games, I'm not totally against Agate starting certain kind of games. But when we're expecting to dominate possession, when one player is clearly better than the other, and this said player has been working ridiculously hard and was very good versus Manchester City, I want Kobbie Mainoo to start. I want him to start versus Brentford. This is Brentford. This is Brentford. If Kobbie Mainoo can't start over Agate versus Brentford, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And this isn't again anything against Agate, but I think Mainoo's been hard done by. I think the work he's doing in training, I just don't think that Amorim can ignore everything that Mainoo has done, changing chef, extra sessions, working extra hard, trying to get in the best physical shape. The recent cameos that Mainoo's had has been very, very good, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts down below. Now let's talk about other Manchester United news stories, because if you're new to the channel, I do a 10-minute video every day where I round up all the latest Manchester United news into 10 minutes. There's normally one topic that we talk about in more detail, and then we talk about other topics. And I give you my honest opinion on the news. If it comes from Footy Insider, I never believe it. If it's about De Jong, I never believe it. And we've got Footy Insider talking about De Jong. I don't believe this. Barcelona's Frankie de Jong is an emerging target for United once again, despite reports he's agreed a new contract. I'm sure United would like Frankie de Jong. But Frankie de Jong isn't a Ruben Amorim player. Frankie de Jong is a Ten Hag player. Ruben Amorim needs midfielders that can cover ridiculous amounts of ground. Frankie de Jong is more like Kobbie Mainoo, a player that is fantastic on the ball, that's technically good on the ball, but isn't a monster when it comes to covering ground. You know, Frankie de Jong isn't a Ruben Amorim player, so I don't personally believe this. If you're looking at Ruben Amorim players, you're looking at Sandro Tonali, looking at Moises Caicedo, you're looking at Declan Rice. Not that we're going to sign any of those three players, but that is the mould of midfielder Amorim wants. Elliot Anderson, Baleba, Sandro Tonali, Moises Caicedo, Declan Rice, people that can cover ridiculous amounts of ground. Not people that are neat and tidy on the ball. We need someone that's neat and tidy on the ball, but we also need that player to be ridiculous at covering ground, which just seems difficult. Now, maybe we signed that guy for the future. Manchester United believe that the signing of Christian Orozco will prove to be a wise move either way. Now, we've signed Sesko Kone, we've signed this Christian guy, and we might also be signing this Mohamed Dabou from Senegal as well. All top young midfielders. Now, not all of these midfielders will make it. Maybe none of them will make it. Maybe two of them will make it. We don't know. But United are signing the best young midfield talents out there. Now, Chris Wheeler actually spoke about how United missed out on Moises Caicedo when they were leading the race for just £4 million, and then he went for £115 million to Chelsea. He's been Chelsea's best player. He's been better than Palmer the last year for Chelsea, the last season, and how phenomenal Moises Caicedo's been at Chelsea. Manchester United are now don't want to make that same mistake again, and that's why they're going for Christian. They're looking at, you know, the top young midfield talent. We need midfielders. We'll be signing first team midfielders. We'll be looking at Baleba, Elliot Anderson, Wharton. But in 4 or 5 years' time, we've also got these young midfielders that could learn from experienced midfielders and potentially come in and save us money in the future. We're trying to find the best next young midfielder. And the ex-Colombia defender Alvaro Escobar had a few things to say on Christian Orozco, and he said that he has a positive leadership style that's allowed him to be captain of the Colombian national team at under-17s level. He's expressed himself very well, it's very receptive, and he doesn't get upset when corrected. He's a pleasure to coach. I was very happy when I found out he could go to Manchester United. Apparently he's a good attitude. From research I've done, he's physically very good, very strong for his age, and technically a good player. And that might not be the only addition that Man United make in terms of young players. Mohamed Dabou, who reports yesterday said we're about to sign out. Reports from Africa yesterday said we're about to sign him, although that apparently is not true. We're not close to signing him yet. But him and Etienne Mendy have been on trial at the club as the search continues. So potentially one of those two players could be coming into Manchester United, and it's good to be bringing in good young talents. I think it's exactly what Manchester United need to do, is bring in these good young talents, but we also need to make sure in January and summer we bring in some good first team players for these young talents to learn from and create a good environment for them to develop in. Which brings me to last. He's 16 years of age, expected to be given a scholarship and go into the under-18s and work with Darren Fletcher. So it's another good young keeper United developing. We've also got Lamens that's a young keeper, but he's like 7 years older. We've got Vitek that is doing well on loan. So, you know, it's good that United are producing keepers potentially for the future there. And look, there's rumours of Lamens starting tomorrow, and I'll probably do a video tonight talking about the rumoured starting 11 and more. So make sure you stay tuned for tonight's video. It will be a preview ahead of that game. Thank you for watching. Bye.